Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We will get started here in about 30 seconds, maybe 45. Depends on how I feel. We'll just let people trickle in. And as people kind of come in here, we will get started to talk a little bit about a really fun topic that's near and dear to my heart and maybe to Leore's as well. I think so, because she's here and she's going to talk about it. But I'm not going to introduce her too early because then some people will miss it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk a little bit about RevOps careers. You know, how do you get into RevOps? How do you make that transition into RevOps leadership? You'll find that I think there's many different ways to do this, but Leore's kind of been on the front lines and figured this stuff out and has seen this several times. So before we get started, I'm your host, Tyler Simons. I'm the head of customer success at Fullcast, and we are a go-to-market planning and execution platform. And today we have Leore Spira, who is at BuildDots, with us to walk us through RevOps career life. And Leore, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
So hi everyone. Sorry, my name is Leore. I'm based in Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm the head of revenue operations here at BuildDots, a construction tech company. So our ICP are construction people, which are not that tech savvy. So I think it's a more challenging and a different opportunity than working in SaaS companies. I think I've been doing RevOps for the past 8 years when nobody called it RevOps, but I'm in tech companies and responsible for building processes and strategies for the past 10 years or more. I'm so old. And I think I kind of fell in love with revenue operations 4 years ago when people started talking about revenue operations and mentioned this term. Transition from very, very traditional sales operations and sales and marketing operations into revenue operations, more understanding the customer journey life cycle. And I think that one of the many reasons that I joined BuildDots, not just for the product, we're basically selling a CRM for the construction industry, which is basically also what I've been doing. And more or less, we are building the same processes and methodologies for construction companies or developers or engineering advisors in the construction space. We're also using the same terms that revenue operations use. So all in all, I think we're trying to not just disrupt the construction space, but also help them understand that bringing efficiency and productivity into their own processes or their own projects, they will not just save money, but also will be able to grow more, meaning managing more projects at the same time and use the data to help them improve themselves. And so this is why I'm here at BuildDots. I've been working at SaaS companies and startups for the past 6 years, as I mentioned, and established 3 departments from scratch, building everything, bringing the technology, the teams, the processes, integrations, everything that is needed to scale. And I think I ran too fast for what the ecosystem was really was ready. But I guess this is when we speak about RevOps, like it is what it is.
It's interesting in the fact that a lot RevOps started from really Salesforce, like Salesforce admins, coming in and just like configuring that software. Like that's kind of where it started, and then it grew into sales ops, which became this whole let's configure sales tools, And then that started to kind of transition into like territory planning and more of the strategic stuff. And then that's now grown into this like revenue operations space. And you just see this like organization kind of, the teams change as time goes on. What I'm, we before Fullcast was Fullcast, it's always been Fullcast, but like before we had our territory planning stuff, we did a lot of like consulting, CRM consulting, and we always talked about a purple squirrel, which is like in the HR world, like finding this thing that doesn't exist, which are these people that have these traits that are really difficult to find. So a lot of this is like RevOps. You've got to be like really tactical and also strategic at the same time. So I'm just curious to like hear, what do you look at as like key professional or character traits that you think like maybe a RevOps person needs to have?
That's a great question, because like people ask me all the time, and I think yes, we saw sales operations positions for many years. I think from the 70s, which were more responsible for maybe deal desk and sales processes, handovers, or just making sure that the pipeline is updated and forecasting plans are accurate, or at least represent what they see, but or what the managers wanted to see or to review. But yeah, so I think what the funny things that happened is that, yeah, we had Salesforce Admin, and when technology came in, it's like the process and the technology were combined all together, because I think working with Excel spreadsheets or working in a not centralized platform caused friction or damage or inaccuracy with data.
Yeah,
And so everything that as sales ops you needed to provide, you couldn't, because nothing was there. But then Salesforce admin or any kind of tool admin came into the picture, and then it sort of shifted into just a tactical position. Like you can build reports, you can pull out the data, somehow translated based on the instruction that you get from your manager to provide metrics without even understanding or consulting whether this is a good metric or very helpful metric or just not. I truly believe, by the way, in a way, in the mindset of you don't need to measure everything. You need to measure what matters, which sometimes is very like managers or leadership don't go that way. They know the generic and obvious metrics, and this is where they go. This is the path they take, or they just want to see who's good or bad. And yeah, and therefore they need Salesforce admins or administrators just to provide the data. So they would be, I call it, I'm gonna piss a lot of CEOs right now, but they want to have yes mans, right? They want to have a yes person. They would just do whatever they ask. And I think this is why sales ops or then marketing ops and eventually RevOps grew from there, because it was easy. It was easy to get control on the tools, bring the tools, integrate the tools, be so tactical, make sure that you build the right infrastructure to generate the data. They will do the rest with the insights. And I think what's amazing with RevOps, or what I can see or how I experience it throughout my whole career, is that yes, we are responsible for technology. And if you ask for skills, I don't come from I don't have the knowledge for information system. Like I haven't studied it, not computer science, not anything that is related to that. I taught myself throughout my career. I started as marketing, by the way, because I knew that this is I need to know stuff or tactical. I need to have technical skills, including analytical skills, for example. I studied law, by the way, to succeed and to gain power or to gain the trust of my managers. And I just did it by myself. And basically back then, I was a one-woman show because nobody really believed in a RevOps teams or departments. They believed in like you need to have the admin skills. You'll configure everything. You'll put everything in place. Voila, everything is good. You're good to go. The company is good to go. Management will do whatever they want with the data. They will prepare the presentation. They might ask you to add some metrics or to help them, work on the board deck, with adding the data, but nothing else. So
yeah, it's kind of like, so I think there's a couple of things that I'm, hearing us talk about. One is just really, I still feel like maybe there is a need for these like tactical skill set, right? Like how
correct.
to build a report in Salesforce or any of the tools that you might be using. Because that still hasn't quite just been automated. You can't just go build me a report, right? But there's also this like I don't think that's the right word, but there's like just this, I need to understand business like context, business language, because the leaders that you're going to work with are not going to say, use this filter on this report, or put this data in here. They're just going to tell you, I need to know what my total pipeline looks like, whatever, right? And you need to
Correct.
be able to understand what that word is, what does that mean, and translate that over. So there's like, maybe the character trait is a translator, but that's kind of what I'm hearing, right? And we're still starting to progress into more of this like business context. So so for people that are kind of like starting to think about this thing, sure, you've got to build your like technical skill sets, and that might not be like coding, but that is being dangerous enough in the softwares that revenue operations works within to like be able to like build reports and
Yeah.
configure, translate the business stuff. What else do you think might be in there that we should care about?
So yeah, I think, and several times it's either my team members or the go-to-market teams. They say that we are magicians, right? So we're doing our magic. So I think revenue operations or any kind of it's like revenue operations, as it's not just a term, it's an art.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to build an infrastructure, and you need to know how to use the tools in the most optimized way, including creating reports, dashboards, or anything that you can use to provide some kind of insights. But you're providing business insights, so you need to understand how the data, how to build it, to optimize everything, whether it's the processes or the data, but also you need to tell a story. So eventually you need to take the data, you need to understand the business, you need to understand the process, you need to understand what is important and what is not for scale or for company growth or for increasing efficiency. And you need to put it on the table for leadership and management to see, because sometimes they think they know, but my friend told me this a month ago, like they don't know what they don't know, and we are here to tell them, like, and to show them what they are missing, or what is out there, that or how the data can help them and support them to leverage their own business or be the best version of themselves by using the stories or the our knowledge for the next step. And I think and this is the beauty, by the way, in revenue operations. Yes, sometimes it's admin stuff, but in every role you have admin. As sales rep, you need to update your pipeline, you need to add the next steps, you need to add the notes, which is super boring, and none of them usually do that. And then RevOps, we become, or sales ops, but RevOps, now that we are working with the full funnel with marketing, sales, and customer success, like we need to make sure, and we need to be the good or bad cop to help them or to push them, or I'm not I learned, like I'm teaching myself not to say enforce. We're not enforcing anymore, we're enabling them. So we're trying to build processes and to bring the right tools to enable them to provide the data, so we can then tell the story or help decrease the friction from moving and to manage handovers from one team to another. And yeah, like it's and by the way, the same with customer success and the same with marketing. But I think for us, like sometimes when you use your hands and you make sure that you do some QAs or you do the admin stuff, you learn so much, because this is how you can leverage your knowledge into improving and optimizing the process and bring some new solutions to the table every time someone says that something is not working, or they need to change either the strategy, either the metrics, or anything that is relevant. And I think this is our superpower, one of many, of course, but yeah.
This has got me thinking, like, let's say there were no RevOps professionals in the entire planet, right? There's nobody that knows anything about RevOps except for you. And you've got to go hire a team of people. What are like the character traits that you're going to look for, like in the person, so that they're like, that they're going to just fit really well into the revenue operations space as you show them the ropes?
So I always start with bringing the technical people, like those Salesforce admins, or
but they don't know anything about RevOps, so they don't know anything about Salesforce.
Exactly.
Technical
So
people, yeah.
So it's a So I want to. It's like people that had studied information systems, business application, because I think this is the great way to start. And this way I can also help them to not just evaluate their career path, but also understand exactly if how they will fit in the team, because eventually even a tactical and technical person can become more strategic and use business thinking, or use their technical talent, or whatever you want to call it, to be a RevOps leader. On the other hand, I will also bring someone that has business orientation, or know how to at least work with Excel spreadsheets and do some analysis with formulas, and and analyze a use case. It can be, and this is how I started, by the way. I studied law. I think law was a wonderful baseline for me to start, because because of the reading, organizing, building a case through a process, working with it. Exactly.
That's what I'm getting at, right? So that I think what's
Exactly.
interesting about that background is that you learned how, like, I think it's like this combination of just like critical thinking and problem solving and curiosity, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think that this role requires so much grinding into just data and just trying to figure out and asking, like going and peeling back all these layers. You can't just be like, yeah, here it is, and be done. You've got to go, here it is, but why is it this way? And then want to dig deeper and dig deeper and dig deeper. Like, that's what what revenue operations is all about. And that's how you like move from, tactical world, which is, to your point, like learning all the spreadsheet stuff, but at the same time, you move into this strategic world where you're starting to really help the sales leaders and the executives, because you're asking those questions yourself and figuring it out to go back to tell the story, right?
Correct. And also, it's courage. Like I think what's wonderful in this role, that you can actually say no and have the data to back you up. You don't need to explain yourself, like why you're saying no and why the solution that you're suggesting is better than their solution. It's because the data says so. So it's like conducting a research, right? You are raising a hypothesis, and then you go explore, and then you find the data, or find anything, or try to find anything that can either support sorry, or refute your hypothesis. And that's exactly what we're doing. So, and we're using, and but with our research, like, we do everything. So we build the process, we build the infrastructure, we collect the data, then we start to ask questions and explore what is right, what is wrong, what could work or not. Should we optimize it? Should we train? We're also training the teams, right? We're working with the teams to work like in harmony and make sure that everything is seamless. So it's a combination of so many things. So and by the way, as a person, you can't be all of it. And I know right now the ecosystem don't really get it, but they are starting to, because you can be the best business application person and Salesforce admin ever, like the best of the best. But if eventually all you do is just build flows, or fix the data, or QA processes, and you don't bring anything else to the table, it just, there's no contribution to the discussion. But once they understand that RevOps is a team, and you can bring so many people, and different people, by the way, that can be, can be part of a very fruitful discussion, or leverage it to a one that nobody thought about it, and then use all the resources that you have to bring different solutions, to bring data, to bring insights, to bring whatever you can change the business strategy, the company KPIs, the team's structure, so many things.
Let's say that I'm a Salesforce admin. I've been building those flows for a long time. I'm quite proficient, and I could do it blindfolded. And
Okay.
but I'm just yearning to move beyond that. I'm super interested in getting involved in maybe like the go-to-market strategy side, or territory planning, or working closer with executives on key initiatives, or whatever that might be, right?
Yeah.
What are some things that I should be doing to get to that level? Like, are there like things I should be reading, learning about, working on, or is it just putting myself out there? I'm just curious as to what your, that transition essentially from like technical to strategic.
So I think first you need to stop being so tactical, and so like work with an executor. Like
Yeah.
it's and it's like, when people ask, like, and again, it doesn't matter if the CEO, if it's the VP of sales, VP of marketing, VP of customer success, or anyone from go-to-market ask you to do something, even a field, like create a field, I think it would be helpful. You need to think broadly, right? You need to not just execute, just stop for a second and start thinking about the full funnel. So for example, and let's take the obvious question, like, I need, like, let's say one of the SDRs or even the sales reps ask you to build a field, right? Or build a workflow, or a flow that help them automate or send alerts whenever. Does it make sense? Ask the questions. Does it make sense? Will it help one rep or the full sales organization? Will you be able to scale later on? Let's say something will change in the process, in the company strategy. Is it is this the right path to grow from there, or can we suggest alternative? And I think also start consulting with other people, like build your network, because eventually I started, as I always say it, as like a lonely wolf, right? I was the only person at the company. at least at the beginning of my career. Now I've reached to a point that I can build teams, but back then I was with myself, no one to consult with, no one to ask. Yeah, I started as an executor, and then by the way, managers and founders took advantage of it because they say, okay, so Leore can do that and that. Like we can throw everything, like any project to her, she will do it. She's she maybe she's a yes woman, maybe not, but she will do it because it's like she's execution. I'm very great, like I'm an amazing executioner. I love tasks. I love project management processes, and just give me an initiative, give me a project, I will plan it, execute it, voila, you have everything. No, like you need to take a step back. And I'm not saying ask questions all the time, but yeah, you have to be curious. Like you have to,
Yeah.
you have to, even as a technical, like Salesforce admin, right? Like right now, as we all know, for example, no process builder, only flows. So, and then someone asks you something, and then like robot, you go and do process builder. No, but maybe flow, right? And if you do flow, like how, and then also we'll implement this solution, and then let's think about training the team. Training the team is a different skill. Like you now facing your team members, and you need to think about their they are your customers. So are you and yeah, and so you need to live it. You need to live and breathe it instead of just go with the flow.
I also like to think about the outcomes, right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm gonna, and this goes back to your like at a field type of thing, like what are we gonna do with the data? Like what's this gonna tell us, right? And these are the things that as a Salesforce admin wanting to transition beyond that is starting to figure out, well, how is the business actually going to use this piece of data? Because a lot of times the requests you get are one-offs that actually, will get filled out to like 10% and no one's actually used the data and it's not even useful. But you could certainly take a step back to your point and think about this a little bit more and transition that into something that actually the whole business can use, that can use that for making key decisions, right? So
Yeah.
this like outcome and how the business is going to use the piece of field or information that's going to be put there is certainly one way to start kind of moving out into this like RevOps space. I also think like, I was just curious. I mean, we got like 1 minute left and I'm starting to like come around on this and I'm feeling maybe a little bit left behind, but those like data analytics side of stuff. And I've kind of just learned this just by doing, but there's all of these things that are happening through like people doing like regression analysis and neural networks. And we're going to have like a whole fireside chat on how to do this with like territory balancing. But do you think like somebody should like that wants to get into RevOps spend time really taking a course on data analytics or business analytics? Or do you think that's just something
Uh,
that's kind of like kind of learned as you go and you get better at it?
yeah, I think so. As like you learn as you go. I think business analytics are old fashioned. And I think there are
Yep.
a lot of tools today and AI tools that can help you and can give you superpower. And I
Yep.
think we're moving towards prediction. So analytics, like, and also being an expert in business analytics, just I think puts you in a place that you always adjust and you always fix and you always work on the data and the processes, and it gives you no flexibility on anything. And you need to move like towards the different like the other direction. You need to
Yeah.
be agile, you need to be more flexible, you need to have like RevOps needs superpowers. It's not just CRM anymore. Like we need superpowers, like we need tools, we need the budget for ourselves as well, because it's just we bring so much more than just business analytics. And you know what, forecast, like it's very important, but it becomes, and I think more and more companies, like, they're not relying on forecasts the way they did before. They want to know more about the business efficiency. They want to know more about prediction, like understand exactly what would be the best way to bring the right buyer persona to the table, and what are the what is the chance that this deal will be closed in the next 3, 4, 5, 1 year, or like what are the risks, to save the deal, to save the customer, and make sure that they're not churning, right? So it's so I think we're moving towards a different world, that RevOps is just not just analytics, and it's not just processing and fixing and data. It's more than that. And I think this is the magic that we bring, especially now in times of recession, in times of efficiency, productivity. VCs are pushing for that. Companies are pushing for that. And you see, because you don't need to grow with headcount, you need to grow with revenue, and you do that not by bringing more sales rep. You do that by analyzing constantly, all the time, like how you're doing. And if you are focused on business analytics, you'll have to fix and always work on the data, and you would never succeed in actually getting some insights that can help you either, move forward, or just stop and rethink everything.
I think that's a good note to go out on. We're we're actually overtime, but this has been super insightful, Leore. I've just really enjoyed the conversation today, and thank you so much for coming on, and thank you all for joining us. Anything else you want to just add, Leore, at the very end? I think we kind of summarized it though, but I don't know if there's anything else that you're like burning to get out.
Yeah, first, thank you for inviting me, but I think I will end this conversation with just don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid, to take risks. I think companies are taking risks, and RevOps is a risk, because nobody likes, to be told that you're doing good or bad. Like, everyone thinks that they're the best, and we are here for others. Like, we make them be the best version of themselves. So own it, like you're doing something good. So don't be afraid to push for it. And sometimes it's like you need to take a risk, but really it's worth it. You're much more appreciated than just being a yes man or woman.
Thank you so much, Leore, and thank you everybody, and until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you.